Hello from Exneco. So today we are covering the topic of introduction to ESG principles. Now, when we talk of ESG, we talk of environment, social, and governance. We are all aware of it, but then how ESG evolved and how its principles got established. This is something which we need to know. And when we talk of ESG, ESG is not something which developed in a day, or it is not something which UN brought into picture for the first time. It evolved over a period of time. So if we look into its history, way back in 1977, the General Motors were the first company to bring a code of conduct against the African companies which practiced discrimination on the basis of races with its people, people working for it. So here again, we can see that this concept of ESG was brought in by an ethical conduct that one company brought into picture and thought that yes, there's something wrong happening in another organization, and we will not participate in that. So that is how General Motors, with its code of conduct, decided that they will not participate in organizations which are involved in apartheid, that is, discrimination on the basis of races. And following suit with General Motors, there were many American companies which started consciously not participating in businesses with those companies which were practicing apartheid. So here we can see that how how ethics started becoming important in business, and businesses were able to influence this process of transition, and they were able to influence wherever something wrong was being done. So they had this power, and this is the first time they exercised this power. Then in 1998, S. Coleman came with an essay wherein he came with an article wherein he wrote about how wealth should be created for the society, for the societal interest, and not for personal gain or personal interest. So that is how this whole concept of giving back to the society, doing something for the society, started evolving in business. Then later on, in 1998, the triple bottom line effect came into picture with John Elkington talking about people, profit, and planet. So planet taking importance, wherein the environment was brought into picture in the business, and then along with that, people who were working, not only the stakeholders, not only the people working in the organization, but also people who were influenced by the work of various organizations. They how they stand and how the businesses are interacting with them. So this also came into picture. So this concept also evolved, and later on in 1998, in the same year when Fortune came with its list with the best companies to work for. That time, it again brought out this concept that the place of work should be good, and that the rights of employees should be protected. A proper working environment should be provided to the employees, and based on that, the list was created as the best companies to work for. So here again, the social aspect of the working conditions of people working for your organization came into picture. And then the Paris Agreement and UN Sustainable Goals 2030 laid down the framework for ESG, and brought in the final push that was required to bring ESG into business. And now, as we see, ESG has become a very important part of business. And and this all started way back in 2004, when the UN Secretary Kofi Annan, along with UN Global Compact, International Finance Corporation, Swiss Bank, and 50 CEOs talked of what were the things that the companies were concerned about. And there it was found that around 70% of the CEOs were concerned about environment. They were concerned about non-bribery. They were concerned about work ethics. They were concerned about the working environment. They were also concerned about governance and transparency in business. So these parameters laid down the framework of how things have to be done. And then this also, if a company takes into consideration all these aspects, this also helps it to save itself from various risks in the near future, or see the future in a better light, and also to go for cost mitigations in case of environmental costs that are involved, which they might have to incur later on if they are not making provisions. So here, ESG makes much more sense to the organization, and now we have got the concept of ESG investing, wherein companies see how what is the ESG score of various organizations, and based on that they make the investment, because they know that companies which are addressing social as well as environmental aspects along with governance, well, they are those companies are positioned to do much better in the near future. And also, why are we so much concerned about companies? Why are we involving companies? When we look into this aspect, we can say that the companies are the people who can actually bring about the change, who can actually make the difference. And that's why the companies are being involved in. It is like the two sides of the same coin, because to a great extent they are the ones who are responsible for the environment, that for they are to a great extent they are also responsible for the pollution that is happening in the environment. So they have to correct that as well. So and they also have the power to do it. So here, bringing together all organizations in a positive manner, so that they work towards the environment, towards the society, and towards good governance. This can help in solving many problems in the society, and can create a good business environment, and can uplift many people in this people who are not benefited, or who are the less privileged in the society. So here, let us go through we can let us go through what we have discussed now, and let us see the principles. The principles, when we talk of principles of ESG, they are actually what is existing in ESG. So when we talk of the environment, we are talking about we are talking about waste management. We are talking about low carbon emission. We are also talking about uh, uh, no participation in illegal deforestation. Then again, we are talking about proper utilization of resources, so that the next generation has enough to meet its needs. Then again, we when we talk of the next aspect, that is social. We talk about proper working condition. We talk about gender equality. We talk about inclusion of people. We talk about we also talk about the community where the business is working, and how that community is getting benefited by the operations of the business. So it's not only the people working in your organization, it is also the people, it's also about the community where you are having your organization, how you are benefiting them. Along with that, it is also about the consumers, how the consumer's rights are protected. and how the consumers get benefited. The next aspect is governance. So there has to be transparency, there has to be proper financial reporting so that the investors and various other stakeholders are aware how well the company is performing, and whether it is keeping provisions for various risks or not. Then again, the compensation of the directors, directors, whether they are as per industry standards and the performance of the company. Along with that, there have to be proper representation in the board of directors so that the rights of all sections of the society is protected. So this calls for an overall view. When we talk of ESG, it's not only profits, it's also people and planet. So it is also environment and society that we have to take into consideration. So let us go through what we have discussed till now. Okay. So now talking about the ESG principles. So when we talk of ESG principles, we talk about what is existing in ESG, what the ESG comprises of. So let us start with the definition of ESG. So when we talk of ESG can be defined as a collection of corporate performance evaluation criteria, or a framework that assesses the revolutions of a company's mechanism in terms of environmental, social, and governance. So the term ESG stands for environmental, socio-economic, and governance concern, and is consequently gaining traction in business and corporate sector. So here again, as the definition says, ESG can be defined as a collection of corporate performance evaluation criteria, or a framework which takes into consideration the environmental, social, and governance aspects. So now, when we talk of when we have already discussed the history of ESG, how it evolved over the years. So in 1977, General Motors brought in its code of conduct, wherein they did not participate with South African businesses who were actually practicing apartheid. Then in 1988, S. Coleman came up with his article, which that is social capital in creation of human capital, in the creation of human capital, which talked about the concept of creation of wealth, not only for oneself, but for the society at large. Then again, the triple bottom line effect of brought in by John Elkington in 1998. Then this further led to the concept of Fortune's best companies to work for, and then the initiatives by the Paris Agreement and the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals by UN Sustainable Goals by 2030 brought in the major push. So now, what is the need for ESG? Why ESG are needed? So first of all, businesses have the power to take good climate action, create a more sustainable, resilient future, and send money for the above mentioned cause. So yes, businesses have the power and the money to bring in the change, and that's why they are involved, and that's because they are the ones who can bring in the change. Secondly, the landscape of sustainability is gaining a lot of traction because of SDG, and environmental concerns are making ESG more important. Yes, environment is a big concern today, and with the kind of challenges that we are facing when it comes to environment, we have to look at ESG more seriously. Then thirdly, the consumers are more aware and are demanding high standards of sustainability and quality of employment for businesses. So no consumer wants to use a product from a sweatshop. They don't want the laborers who have actually stitched their shirt to go through a very painful process in doing that. So everyone wants that the rights of people involved working towards the businesses is protected. Then again, fourthly, ESG framework helps to identify various business risks and prioritize and guide decisions on the same. So definitely when we talk of ESG frameworks, they actually help us to see the future, and there are many risks. If they are not attended on time, they can lead to great loss. So here the companies can actually by following the ESG framework, protect themselves against a lot of risk. And lastly, ESG risk management supports sustainability growth, and by evaluating potential risk and early, they can actually go for they can develop cost mitigation. So these are the needs for ESG. Then, when we talk of Jokura's research in 2021 talked of these three fields, that is the environmental field, the social sphere, and within the scope of governance, and what falls under it. And those are the things that makes a company ESG compliant. So when we look at environment, it talks about reduction and compensation of greenhouse gas emissions, then again, not related to illegal deforestation, responsible consumption of waste of water. This also reminds me that Honda as a company is trying to see to it that they use zero water. They are trying to, by 2025, they are trying to reach a stage where the water would be recycled and they will not use any other extra water from outside to for the automobile production, which is a very good initiative. Then again, it is the environmental field considers about companies not getting involved in deforestation, being responsible towards the water consumption. Waste management is another aspect, energy efficiency promotion, and preservation of biodiversity is also falls under environment. Then in social sphere, we talk of a promotion of inclusion and diversify policies. So respect of human rights, compliance with labor laws, collaborations for the development of communities in which they are installed. So here it's not only developing the employees in the organization, but also the communities that are linked or that surround your place of work. You benefit them, you uplift their level of life. Then again, combating child labor and slavery kind of situations is also a part of it. Again, seeing to it that labor labor rights are protected. Again, privacy of data and data management also come into picture. Then within the scope of governance, it is again one has to see that there's transparency, there's no tax evasion, there's clear criteria, remuneration and career plans. Then establishing non-corruption policies. Then again, promotion of transparency and ethical conduct of business is also important. So here, Who Cares Wins report of 2004 to 2008 by International Finance Corporation of World Bank found that in a survey found that 70% of the CEOs were concerned, investors and prominent people in the business were concerned with environmental performance, then another 65% were concerned with the disclosure and transparency. Then again, labor standards, another 55% were concerned. Then we had parameters like they had parameters like social safety and health benefits of the products, then governance, which had interdependence amongst directors, then social lack of corruption, then governance minority, shareholder rights, then again environment, climate change, social workplace standards. So these were the various parameters the modern investor and the prominent people in the industry were concerned of, and this laid the foundation of the principles of ESG. So the three principles of ESG, as stated by Edison, are as follows: the environmental ethics, the societal solidarity, and the governance guidance. So when we talk of environmental principle, we are talking of we talk about carbon emission and climate change. So here the company has to be aware of the carbon emissions that they are doing and how they can bring it down. They should have a resolution of bringing down the carbon emissions, and they should work towards it. Then again, resource efficiency and conservation. So while having recycling is playing a very important role here. So we can have virgin steel, but then at what cost? If it is if it is causing a lot of environmental depletion, it is a major concern. So it is better to have recycled steel. In that case, again, gold is another area where if you look at the gold mining, it creates environmental pollution, which the land gets depleted so poorly that it cannot be conserved for many years, around 60 years. And this if the gold is recycled and used, then this solves a lot of problems. So here again, resource efficiency and conservation plays an important role. Then pollution control. ESG also looks at companies' efforts to minimize pollution controls. Waste management is another aspect. Not only that, you have to take into consideration the whole life cycle of the product, because it so happens that during the products after when they reach the end of their life cycle, they actually cause a lot of pollution. So the companies have to see how those batteries, how those products can be used. So, Tata Motors has come up with the concept of using the batteries in their cars in home appliances. So that is giving a second life to the batteries. So here, these are the various things that have to be taken into consideration, and when it comes to environmental ethics. Then we talk of social solidarity. So in that case, community engagement and impacts on companies' level of community involvement and impact of its operation on local communities are significant components of of the social principle. So here I would like to state the example of Mundra Port developed by the Adani Group. So Mundra was a sleepy town, and now it has become a major port and is waking up, and there's a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of improvement taking place, a lot of development taking place in this area because of the port that the Adani Group has created there. So here we can see how community engagement can impact and bring about the well-being of people in that area where the organization is working. Then diversity and inclusion. So when we talk of diversity and inclusion, the best example is that of Tata Motors, where they have only women working in the production line in the production line of their vehicles in one of their units, where only women are doing the assembly of cars. So here, bringing more and more women and including more and more women in the workforce can solve a lot of problem in case of gender equality, and also bringing about diverse people into work and inclusion can go a long way in bringing about social changes. Then labor practices, the treatment of employees with respect and treatment of and evaluating the companies on the basis of the practices, the fair wages, the safe working condition. All these have gained importance, and now they all fall under the ESG principles. Then again, the human rights. When we talk of human rights, one has to see to it that the companies uphold the fundamental human rights, and there's no child labor used in their operations. So these fall under the social principles of ESG principles. Then again, governance and guidance. So here we talk about the broad structure and independence. So here again, the governance principle pertains to the management structure of independence of board of directors, and also there should be good representation from every section of the society when it comes to the board of directors. Then again, ethics, one has to see that ESG evaluates if the company have a code of ethic in place to guide decision making and promote transparency. There should be transparency, so that transparency is very crucial for good governance, because until and unless the financial statements are kept forward in a transparent manner, the investors, the other stakeholders will not be aware of what is going on in the company, and will not be able to assist or take steps in the right direction. Then again, compensation, the ESG also considers executives' compensations should be as per the industry standards and the performance of the company. So here again, when we talk of governance, there are many things that have to be taken into consideration. So there has to be proper representation, there has to be, these all fall under the principles of ESG, and there has to be transparency, there has to be ethics. The compensation um, should be justified. And these, when we talk of ESG principles, we are talking about what actually exists in ESG. So when we talk of ESG, is basically the framework which helps companies to evaluate their present situation, and also gives the ESG scores given by the ESG evaluators. They actually tell the investors how good the company is performing and how it is well prepared to meet the future challenges. And this is how ESG has gained a lot of traction, and ESG investing has now become important. So I hope with this video, it's clear what ESG principles are all about, and we'll move on to more discussion on ESG in the coming videos. So please stay tuned. Thank you so much.